good intention. You know how God's sovereignty works? You had the old adage, for one of a nail, the shoe was lost. For one of the shoe, the horse was lost. For one of the horse, the rider was lost. For one of the rider, the battle was lost. And so the pivotal moment that decided the outcome of the battle was a single nail from the shoe of the horse. An insignificant detail became the pivotal reason for the loss of the battle. Do you ever think of what led to Good Friday? Whatever led to your salvation? Just go back a little bit in time. Jacob favors Joseph, so he makes this gorgeous coat of many colors for him. And he gives him that coat. And Joseph struts around like a peacock in the thing. And he tells his older brothers that I had this dream where you guys were bowing down in front of me. And they said, that's it. It's enough with the coat. You know, this kid has got to go. And so they go and they sell him into slavery, and he goes. It just happens. It just so happened. And when they're trying to get rid of him, just at that second comes these caravanners on their way to Egypt. And there's this unplanned intersection between the intentions of the Midianite caravan merchants meeting up with the plans of Joseph's brother. And so when they join together, everybody's happy. It's a no-lose situation. The brothers get rid of Joseph. The Midianite traders get a prize that they can sell in the slave market. So they now go down to Egypt. And just by chance, when they put this kid up for sale in the slave block, it just so happens that the one who gets the winning bid is this captain of the guard named Potiphar, who just happened to be married to this unscrupulous woman who tried to seduce this young slave, who was falsely accused, thrown into prison, where there happened to be his fellow prisoners, the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. And while he's in there, he's interpreting dreams for them. And it just so happens that one of them gets out and goes to talk to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh has these nightmares. But good luck for Joseph, the candlestick maker remembers this guy back in prison who can interpret dreams. You know the story, so he finally brings him back. Joseph becomes the prime minister. The famine comes. The brothers come. They finally invite Jacob to come back down to Egypt. And if it hadn't have been for that, the Jews never would have sojourned in Egypt. But now they come and they live in the land of Goshen. They multiply, they produce, but it just so happens that there comes this Pharaoh who didn't know about Joseph. And instead of giving safe conduct to these Jewish immigrants, he decides to turn them into a slave labor force to take care of his public building projects. Well, as fate would have it, one of their women conceived and has this baby, and at the time the Pharaoh creates this edict to destroy the children. And so this mother, not wanting her baby to be put to death, makes this little ark out of reeds and pitch, sets it adrift in the river, consigns the fate of her child to the hidden providence of God. And so the little thing starts to float down the river, starts to cry. I mean, if the child hadn't cried, nobody would ever notice the doggone thing. But it just so happened that Pharaoh's daughter's down there doing her wash, and she finds this baby, and she says, well, I got to take care of this baby. She takes it home, raises it as the child of Pharaoh, so that the little baby gets all the training of the best of the Egyptian court. Within just one fateful day, without any intent, without any plans, nobody was lying in wait. He happens to see a guard mistreat one of the Jewish slaves. And in his anger, he rises up and strikes this guard and kills him accidentally. It wasn't malice aforethought. It wasn't first-degree murder. He wants to hide the body, but somebody saw it. And because somebody saw it, Moses is banished into exile, where he languishes as a shepherd in the Midianite desert until his old age. But when he least expected it, he's taking care of the sheep one day, and all of a sudden he looks over and he sees this bush that's burning, it's not being consumed. He says, "What is this?" And he turns aside and the bush starts talking to him and tells him, it just so happens that that was the place where God reveals himself to Moses, and God gives Moses the mandate to go to the court of Pharaoh and to say to Pharaoh, "I have heard the cry of my people. Let my people go." And what follows is the greatest redemptive event in the whole history of the Old Testament, the Exodus. God saves his people, enters into a covenant with them, makes them a nation, gives them his law, conquers the land, gives them a king, sends them his prophets. And a couple of thousand years later, out of all of this, a baby is born in Bethlehem. And we could go on with this story, but you realize all of this because of one lousy coat of many colors. Huh? No coat, no jealousy. No jealousy, no betrayal. No sale into slavery. No trip to Egypt, no Potiphar's wife, no Potiphar's wife, no prison sentence, never meets the butcher, baker, and the candlestick maker, doesn't meet them. He never gets acquainted with Pharaoh. He's never elevated to the prime minister. The children of Israel never settle in the land of Goshen. There's never a slavery. There's never an exodus. There's never a nation. There's never the Ten Commandments. There's never the kingdom of God. You meant it for evil, but God intended this for good, to save many people. Is that incredible? You know, when I hear people struggling over the relationship between, oh no, there goes my watch, all the way down behind the pulpit. That's my most valuable possession. That's better than the coat of many colors ever was. Do you see? You can't even reach it. I got to keep preaching until we find a lady who has a really skinny arm, or somebody who, here she comes. Can you reach down in there? I bet you can't even get that. That's it. There she is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm putting this in my pocket before that happens again. But if it hadn't happened, that watch, I never would have met that lady. Huh?